So basically, what I've learned over the years is that marketeers tend to think that consumer is very, I wouldn't say stupid, but consumers are very, simple, etc. But what I've learned is consumers are extremely sharp. Consumers are, as a child, whenever I would go to a grocery store or a local store, you would always see consumer is always right. एक छोटा सा sticker हमेशा होता था. So,
हाँ.
okay, so that unfortunately or fortunately is the truth. The consumer is always right. So that is what I've learned about consumers, that however way they behave, whatever you try to do, they will behave exactly the way they have to behave. And as a brand, as a person in marketing, you have to, either service that behavior or
साकेत,
absolutely,
आपने
absolutely.
बहुत डिफरेंट इंडस्ट्रीज में काम किया है, लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल हेल्थ टेक यूनिकॉर्न से लेकर कंज्यूमर टेक कैटेगरी लीडर टू ग्लोबल पेमेंट्स ब्रांड. So how do you see this, like how it has shaped your overall marketing approach towards different working with a different industry?
Consumer also does not always know what they want. Okay, so as
Mhm.
marketers, our job is to, unravel the whatever behavior is there on the surface, go deeper into why they are doing that behavior, and address the core reason of that behavior.
Hi everyone, welcome to Icons Behind Brands. I'm your host Devleena, and I'm back with one more exceptional guest with me today. Meet Mr. Sakket V Rao, who is the head of brand at RP Sanjeev Goenka Group, Dr. Vaidyas. Over 16 years of experience, Saket has navigated different roles in different industries. So I'm very excited to have him here. A very warm welcome to you, Saket, on Icons Behind Brands.
Thank you, Devlina, for having me. It's a lovely Saturday afternoon, and I'm super excited to have this conversation.
So I want to understand if you just discussed your key learnings and insights you have gained from your experiences working with different companies, transitions between, health tech to consumer tech to conglomerate industries. So if you share that with us, I think it would be great to start.
So basically, what I've learned over the years is that marketers tend to think that consumer is very, I wouldn't say stupid, but consumers are very, simple, etc. But what I've learned is consumers are extremely sharp. Consumers are the bread and butter for every marketer. I
Mm-hmm.
just enjoy consumers in different forms, shapes, whether it is fintech, consumer tech, health tech, and it is the way consumers have surprised me over the years in my career. Uh, Pleasantly surprised me. It's been wonderful. Sometimes they are so forgiving, sometimes they were so kind, sometimes they are very unforgiving also. So you have
Yes.
to be very careful as a marketer to kind of. So that is one big learning that I've had through the years. Apart from that, as I've navigated through various industries, what I've realized is that as the technology has changed in the course of my career, keeping up with the technology and being at the same pace as the consumers are is very important. So that has allowed me and some of my, of course, a lot of my colleagues from or counterparts from different parts, different organizations to be right there where the consumer is. So I think these two have been very important learnings for me in the course of the years that I've had across industries.
Lovely. But Sakit, I
Yeah.
would also love to connect the dots, how you have started and where you have reached. So if you just let us know for our viewers that how you have started and where, and what are the companies and where you have reached. So how was that journey looked like?
Brands. So I worked with Barclays Finance. I worked a large part of my career at Mastercard. For about 5 years, I used to handle India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, three countries in some form, and had a lovely time doing that. About a few years ago, I moved into the startup side. Did one of the biggest campaigns in the country for housing.com. It was a very massive campaign across multiple parts of the country. I did that, and then I've been with organizations, that some of the organizations that you mentioned, like Ben Franklin, Pristine Care, and Tutsi, and currently with the RP Sanjeev Goenka Group, working on their brand Dr. Vaidyas. So
Mhm.
It's been a very interesting journey for me. So from wanting to be an actor, film director, etc., to here, I did get to direct a few films later last year. So I'm
Mhm.
very happy.
Awesome.
Films as in ad films.
Mhm.
So I'm very
Lovely.
happy that I've had finally had the opportunity to do.
So, how fulfilling it was, the journey, and is that any way like that particular experience, or that passion has helped you here where you are today?
Because as an actor or a director or writer, you have to be very observant of people and what others are doing. And that has helped me very deeply in my career because I'm very observant of competition, consumers, what is happening in different industries, what are the consumers doing, uh, what is happening on social media. So I'm a very curious person, which is I think a trait that you carry forward from your acting, directing, writing days, and
Mm-hmm.
that trait has really helped me be a better marketer. Advertising, whether it is strategy, whether it is social media, content, any form of the fields which the marketing domain kind of covers. I've been able to do that because of that curiosity which was inbuilt into me as a writer, director, actor. So that way.
Yeah, I see a similarity here. When you are a marketer, you are always a better
Mhm.
marketer when you observe better, when you understand your consumer better.
Yeah.
And also,
Yes.
marketing that involves a lot of visual representation. And I think जब आप acting करते हो या फिर more than that, if you see as a director, then you also know
Mm.
the angles, what is the presence, how it looks like as a platter.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
mujhe like now it's pretty clear like how it is helping you as a person
Yes.
in your profession. साकित
Absolutely.
आपने
Absolutely.
बहुत डिफरेंट इंडस्ट्रीज में काम किया है, लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल हेल्थ टेक यूनिकॉर्न से लेकर कंज्यूमर टेक कैटेगरी लीडर टू ग्लोबल पेमेंट्स ब्रांड. So how do you see this, like how it has shaped your overall marketing approach towards different working with a different industry?
So when I started, going to leadership roles in various organizations, I carried a lot of those traits, that planning, that level of detailing, ability to see the entire year's budget and what kind of activities you should do, what activities will be strategic in nature, what activities will be very short term. All of those learnings, I think, kind of came together. A lot of it actually came together at Mastercard. So I always,
Okay.
pay my tribute to Mastercard every time I speak about my career because
Mhm.
I think that experience was wonderful. That learning that I had during that entire period was spectacular. And then I've been able to carry that forward
Mhm.
in various places that I have worked. So when I started building my own teams, the kind of people that I hired, the kind of strategy that we did, the kind of budget allocation that we did, uh, the kind of celebrities which we got on board, the kind of sports association that we did, a lot of that learning actually comes from Mastercard. So
Mastercard.
that learning I've been able to kind of carry forward slowly over the years, and it's been wonderful.
And
And
how long you have worked in Mastercards?
I worked with them for close to 5 years. So it was
Oh,
a very long
lovely.
period of time
It's a,
that
yeah.
I spent.
Now, when you see, how do you navigate these complexities or working with a very different kind of structures, conglomerate structure, while maintaining a focus and clarity with your brand messaging and positioning? So, how do you see this? Because your messaging and
Mm.
positioning has to be very, very right. That's when, the marketing efforts come to a place where you get the right results. So how do you work towards
Correct,
it?
correct, correct. So if the brand is not kind of nurtured, everything else starts to fall apart. So whether it is the HR function or the finance function or the marketing function or the sales function or the CEO's office, etc., everything is revolving around the brand. So if you do not treat your brand as something very, very precious, it is the entire organization will fall apart. So that is what I do. So this navigation of the complexity is only possible because I'm able to anchor the entire marketing efforts on the brand. So brand is beyond me and the organization, because brand is what takes the organization forward. So sometimes it is if something that I don't personally like, but the brand requires that, I will do it. So
Hmm.
it's a very philosophical thing, where a brand
Correct.
as an entity is something that has to be nurtured again and again. And
Mhm.
The complexities in various organizations can be navigated very easily, because we are speaking, as in I am speaking from a place of being a brand custodian, which is very
Correct.
critical. So that level of uh, focus and admiration and sort of devotion towards the brand is what actually
True.
is taking the making the complexities much more easier to handle.
And it is also as good as, like, if I need to compare, it just flashed in my mind, when you have a child, child's growth and upbringing is beyond your own identity and beyond everything. So that love and devotion and admiration is very, very important to have. So I really
Yeah.
felt, these words are very important to have as a brand custodian and brand advocate to move it forward towards the right place. What you have witnessed, like, what are the similarities that you have observed, that, like you just said, as we observe a lot in the consumer behavior across, like, health tech, consumer tech, and how did you leverage these insights to your marketing efforts now?
Okay. So, as a child, whenever I would go to a grocery store or a local store, you would always see consumer is always right. एक छोटा सा sticker हमेशा होता था. So,
हाँ.
okay, so that unfortunately or fortunately is the truth. The consumer is always right. So that is what I've learned about consumers, that however way they behave, whatever you try to do, they will behave exactly the way they have to behave. And as a brand, as a person in marketing, you have to, either service that behavior or help change that behavior. So
Mhm.
that is what I have kind of learned across consumer tech, health tech, etc. Consumer is always right. Second thing is that uh, consumer also does not always know what they want. Okay, so as
Mhm.
marketeers, our job is to unravel the whatever behavior is there on the surface, go deeper into why they are doing that behavior, and address the core reason of that behavior. So moment that core reason is kind of addressed is where excuse me, where you learn more about the consumers, you are able to service the consumers, create a better advertising, create a better product, create a better brand, because you're listening to the consumer every time, and sometimes what they are not even saying.
That,
Yeah,
again, you say consumer, right? So, I decoded it when you just said,
yeah,
with the
yeah.
conversation, I just decoded it. Okay, how the consumer is always right, because if they are not right, there is no
Correct, correct.
point of your existence.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, whether it is a revision of a product or a marketing strategy, and I've had so many failures in my career, and most of them have been when I was not listening to the consumer very
Oh
intently.
yeah.
कभी कभी
Hmm.
आपने जब ऐसा ऊपर ऊपर से सुना लेकिन ध्यान से नहीं सुना, so that is when you make a mistake.
Hmm.
But consumer is 100% always right.
Correct.
That is, you are absolutely right. Marketing is not just a profession. It's like it teaches you so much about life and people, and the life lessons it provides you. It makes you very humble.
And true that it makes you very humble, because the moment you feel like, oh, I am an excellent marketer, something comes up in between, and then you're like, okay, I need to learn it again. I need to start from scratch and let me see. Sakit, how do you see an emotional quotient in an effective leadership, emotional intelligence in any leadership roles? Because being in the head of any function is not easy, because you need to work with different functions, you need to work with the different individual stakeholders. So, how do you see that, particularly in the context of managing diverse teams and stakeholders?
What I've realized is that you should always look beyond a person as an employee, or as a team member or as a colleague. There is also a life that that person has outside of the four walls of the office. Okay, and while a lot of us value money, but I think respect and getting somebody to share their point of view is very, very important. And I think a lot of great ideas have come from people who, when they have been given the space to kind of talk. So that is very important. Secondly, I think as leaders, our responsibility also is in mentoring. Okay, so
Okay.
emotional quotient over there is very, very important because uh, we are actually not going to take anything other than a paycheck home. What we are going to leave behind is whatever some of the stalwarts have taught us. So we always
Hmm.
say that I stand on the shoulders of giants. There's a very famous saying, and we just want to become whatever we have been passed on as pieces of intelligence and nuggets of gold, etc. We want to pass it on as leaders. So I think that knowing that is very, very important, that your responsibility is not just to uh, be a boss. It is also important that you be a mentor in some little way. I always will make sure that whatever you're doing more than you think that you can do. Sometimes जैसे कहते हैं ना कि हीरे की परख सिर्फ जौहरी को होती है.
Yeah,
Otherwise, it's just a stone. So it is that, I
correct.
try to identify the gold, the diamond in that person, because somebody else did that for me. And I just try to, polish it as and make it as bright as possible so that they can get the fair market value that they deserve.
Yeah. So, Sakit, with this, now we are moving towards a section called Rapid Fire Round. And
Okay.
this is fun.
Will I get a hamper
And
like the Karan Johar show?
I really want to, I want to invite for an in-person, once we start. And
Yeah.
everything apart from the hamper, everything is like all set here at this point.
Oh, perfect. Great. I'm very excited. Let's go.
Yes, me too. So, if you could have dinner with any historical figure so far, who would it be?
So for me, it would be the father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi.
Mahat.
I think I
Okay.
find him a very fascinating personality, sometimes misunderstood, sometimes understood. And I think there's so many layers about him which have not been discovered. So a dinner with him
Wow.
would be a great way to, kind of, get to know him better and understand his point of view.
Sakit, what's the last book you read?
Okay, so there are actually, two books that I'm reading. It's lying on my desk. I'm just going to show it to the
Okay.
camera. This is a book by
Vikram.
Vikram Chandra. It's called Love and Longing in Bombay. It's a collection of short stories which I got as a gift on my birthday
Okay.
recently.
Awesome.
And then another book called Joyful by
Joy.
Ingrid Lee, which also, is an interesting book that I've.
What's that one thing people would be surprised to know about you?
वो एक्चुअली वो मैंने पहले रिवील कर दिया बट आई यूज्ड टू एक्ट डायरेक्ट राइट आई
Oh,
स्टिल
oh,
डू
oh.
I write poetry. I In the last few months I've written close to 100 pieces of poetry. I've written two short stories. I'm on the verge of writing a third one. So yeah, this is something
Ooh.
that not many people know.
What's that one thing that is still there in your bucket list?
Oh, still there on my bucket list. I think I have come very close to working with Mr. Bachchan a few times. I think I really want to work with him.
So, what is your favorite hobby outside your work?
Okay, so I am a self-proclaimed cinephile. So I like to watch movies. I have been part of cinema clubs growing up, and then I have been watching world cinema, regional cinema, all of that. So my favorite pastime outside of work is watching movies, and I'm like a hardcore cinema goer. Like मैं cinema में जाके देखता हूँ, घर पे देखता हूँ, but I would
Okay,
prefer
okay.
always to have that beautiful connection with that.
Mm.
I've just developed this hobby of lip syncing songs. So मैं अभी आजकल वो कर रहा हूँ.
Okay,
So I
okay.
can do a very good lip sync. Yeah, yeah. I have also started doing voice poetry. So I just don't write,
Mm-hmm.
I narrate. So I have developed a style of saying things.
बहुत ही डायनामिक पर्सनालिटी निकल के आ रही लाइक द मोर वी आर टॉकिंग द मोर लाइक वी आर ओपनिंग अप द लेयर्स so what's the best piece of advice you have ever received?
So the best piece of advice, I think did not come from a person in one to one on one. It actually came from a video that I saw. There was an actors roundtable that was happening. What I have in that, I'm forgetting the name of the actor who said it. Uh, But he spoke about if you are experiencing a success, there will be a downfall. If you're experiencing a downfall, there will be success. So everything is temporary, whether it's a good time or a bad time. And I think that is an advice that I take. So earlier I used to be a very person who would take everything very seriously. I've realized everything is temporary in that sense.
Now, what's your favorite way to unwind after a busy day, Sakit?
So I think favorite way to unwind is listening to music, watching a good film, reading something, or speaking to friends, and just generally writing something. So yeah, this is the way I kind of unwind. I like to make it productive in some creative sense. So I think the favorite way, I don't have a single favorite way because it's a creative brain. So एक चीज से मन नहीं भरता. So I try every day is a different way to unwind. Some day it is music, some day it is meeting with friends, some day it is reading, some day it is watching a film, some day it is just enjoying evening of solitude with a cup of chai or coffee, and some light music and candles and all of that. So there are different
Oh,
ways that I
wow.
unwind.
So, with this, we are
Absolutely.
out of the rapid fire round. And before we wind up this conversation, Saket, I want you to talk for our marketing, aspiring marketing leaders. So, what is your
Hmm.
message for any aspiring marketing leaders on their way up?
Okay. So I have a very simple message that I think, curiosity is something that you should hone. You should have a love for consumers, love for the brand that you're creating. And as long as you have that curiosity and the love and passion and admiration for the brand that you're creating, I think you will be very successful.
Lovely. Lovely piece of advice, Saket. I'm sure it is going to help a lot of them. And thank you for being here. I really had a great time talking to you in the last 30-40 minutes.
Thank you so much, Devleena, for having me and listening to me and being so kind and really appreciate it.
Thank you, Saket. It was wonderful having you here. I'm sure कि आपको ये वीडियो बहुत ही insightful and informative लगा होगा. Let us know in the comment section which part of the video you loved the most. हम ऐसे ही इंडिया के top business brand secrets आपके पास लाते रहते हैं. Please do not forget to subscribe our channel Icons Behind Brands. And that's all for today. I am Devleena Neogi signing off until next time.